I'm basically the straw that stirs the drink, and that's pretty much...
Okay.
So I'm calling myself a tool, because I'm the tool that stirs the drink.
You're gonna hear random slapping. Contrary to popular belief, that is not Rob trying to spank everyone.
I saw you miss a lot, too.
I did. I did.
You see something of a good size, and it kind of flashes by. You have that split second to draw, anchor, aim, and release.
And we saw that gargantuan alligator gar, and then Patrick comes up and tags him. What was the coolest thing for me is that watching the entire team, really, everyone stepped in, everyone worked together.
Just to make a long story short, everybody, the stingray, when I got it up out of the water, I went to yank on it a little bit. The line snapped, and it hit me right in the face.
And we just ate a bunch of stuff off the grill. We got a poot, man. Deal with it.
How y'all doing, baby? This is Hound Dog down on the bayou in South Louisiana. We're boiling crabs and crawfish, and we're listening to Living Country in the City, episode 25. Hey! I see what them producers go through.
Y'all ready for your dose of flyover state spirit? Straight from the concrete jungle? Well, put down your latte and pull on your boots. It's time for Living Country in the City.
All right.
Let me talk about this bug spray. How amazing it is.
I'm okay with that. We should probably start this, though, so, you know. All right. Hey, y'all. Welcome to episode 25 of Living Country in the City. Living Country in the City is, as always, brought to you by Bowhunter Brotherhood. Check out the latest blog entries and videos at the Bowhunter Brotherhood website and get 10% off all purchases in the Bowhunter Brotherhood store by visiting our partners page at livingcountryinthecity.com/partners. Now, today we're coming at y'all straight from Lafitte, Louisiana. We are not in the city at the moment, but I'm hanging out here with the boys from Bowhunter Brotherhood. We have been doing some fishing. We've been doing some bow fishing. We've just been having a great time down here. We are at the out on a houseboat, out on the patio. We got all kinds of bayou noises going on out here. If we're being completely honest, I may have had a bourbon before starting this podcast, so we're just all here having a good time. We're kicked back. We've had a good day, and welcome to the show, guys.
Hey, what's going on?
Glad to be here.
We have the whole team. Now, why don't you all just go around in a circle and introduce yourselves?
Is this an AA meeting?
It might need to be. Might need to be if we keep going.
Yeah, that's a good one. So I'm Patrick Alvarez, owner and founder of Bowhunter Brotherhood, and I'm from New York. And what else? I'm a former professional soccer player.
We know who you are. If y'all listen to episode 2, go check out my chat with Pat. That rhymed, and I really didn't want it to.
Nice.
Go check out my podcast with Pat. And
sorry guys, we're moving around a little bit. We're trying to get settled in. We're all good to go. We're right here on the deck, of the boathouse. We're actually on the balcony deck. It's beautiful out here, and we're just enjoying the weather of getting bit by 10-inch mosquitoes.
These things are actually the size of condors. We don't have those in California, that's for sure. At least not down in Los Angeles.
Yeah. So let's get to Locke. Introduce yourself, man. The man behind the scenes.
I'm Locke. I like
Daddy.
long walks in the park.
Hi, Locke.
I'm basically the straw that stirs the drink, and that's pretty much...
Ooh, I like that.
I'm really not sure what that means, but I very much like... I don't care what it means, but I like the
It
metaphors
means I didn't
regardless.
make the drink.
But he's
I'm the straw
enhancing the
that stirs.
flavor.
Oh, I get it.
I like that.
Okay.
Give me a pound. I like that, Locke Daddy.
I'm liking that one.
The
All right.
sugar just settles at the
It
bottom.
just wouldn't be the same if you didn't stir the drink.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
So I'm calling myself a tool, because I'm the tool that stirs the drink.
And we got Rob over here talking about a little sugar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a tool, and I'm assuming I'm the tool shed.
Whoa. This
Yeah.
is getting...
That's a powerful assumption.
This is getting real risque over here.
Yeah. No, I believe, I always say, it's like NASCAR racing. You're nothing without your pit crew, right?
It's the truth.
It's true.
I'm okay with that.
It's true.
That one could go by. That one's allowed. Not the tool
All right.
shed.
All right, Rob. Tell these fine people who you are.
Who am I?
Isn't that
He doesn't know either.
All right, folks, this podcast is taking a turn. This may take a half an hour.
He might find himself in this podcast.
Simple business manager. You know, somebody's got to deal with all the logistics and all the dirty work behind the scenes, you know, just like Locke does. You know, somebody's got to be there to video edit it, do all that stuff, stay, you know, get home from their day job and sit there for the next 5-6 hours doing all the things people don't want to do.
Yeah, and with living country in the city, that's me. I get to do the things I want to do. I get to do all the things I don't want to do.
That's nice.
I don't know. Is it nice to get to do all the things you don't want to do? Is that nice?
I don't think that's nice.
I don't know.
I don't know. You're gonna hear random slapping. That is.
Those are mosquitoes.
Dying.
Biting.
It is contrary to popular belief. That is not Rob trying to spank everyone. That is.
Where's that spray, by the way?
Here, this would be good.
Yeah, you'll also hear random moments of bug spraying because, you know, it's really nice out right now, but.
Well,
yeah,
what's happening here
mosquitoes
is Rob is showing off his
thighs.
His thighs.
His thunder thighs.
Where he didn't get the spray.
You see the veins?
Stop rubbing it in like baby oil.
I'm not looking that hard.
You're very
All right,
bad.
I'm not looking that closely.
Man, this is what happens when you put a bunch of dudes on a houseboat together. It gets interesting, but Steve, why don't you introduce yourself to these people and we can actually start talking about something they want to listen to.
Sure. My name is Steven Tatum. I'm actually out.
That was official. That was really.
Yeah.
It's always
well, at least we have one professional one here.
It's always.
Yeah.
They hired me
for
for.
the
They hired me for PR.
My name.
Yeah, public relations Steven. That's who we got up here.
So based out of
my
Atlanta.
name's Steve. I do PR. Sorry, say that again. Where are you from?
I'm based out of Atlanta, Georgia.
So we got folks from everywhere here. We're I guess we're missing the Midwest at the moment. We gotta drag some folks out, but we got California, we got New York, we got Louisiana, we got Georgia.
And that's what the Brotherhood's about, baby. All bow hunters from across the country.
You know, I got a call from Rob and Pat not too long ago, and you know, I was answered the phone, and I'm like, oh, I wonder what the guys want, and Rob starts, he kind of, I don't even know how to describe it. Rob jumps into, I want to call it a sales pitch almost. I'm like, what's going on? Like, it was just random call in the middle of the day, didn't know what was going on, and he's like selling me on something. I can't figure out what's going on, but Rob is like, he is like in business mode, and he has the sales pitch ready to go, and I'm sitting there, and I'm in the lobby of my office, you know, I can't figure it out, and then, so why don't you tell him the big news?
I was sitting back, you know, and when you know you get to thinking, and things that just make sense, you know, like prime example, you know, the company's based out of northern New York. You're all the way out in LA. We couldn't be more further apart inside this country possible, but yet, you know, when people are good people and they have the right intentions, they magnetize to each other. And, you know, through social media.
You know, we have a magnetic connection.
Yeah,
I've always realized that.
It's energy, you know? They're like birds of a feather flock together, right? So, you know, we, you know, all magnetize to each other, just like why we're all here. God brought us together. And, you know, it just made sense that, you know, what you're about, what you stand for is the exact same thing that we do. And it would only make sense, and it would be beneficial for us as friends, as business, everything, that it becomes one. You know, it all makes sense. You know, with any type of thing that you love to do, there's ambition and there's dedication behind it. And that's the biggest thing. You know, we have people all the time that always reach out to us about wanting to be part of the Bowhunter Brotherhood. But, you know, you really got to question, do they want to be part of something for the right reasons? You know, when you love something, it's unconditional. And when it's unconditional, you'll go to all extents to make it happen. And, you know, that's what we're about. That's what you're about. And it's why I sat back and said, wow, let me talk to Patrick and get the okay with this. And Patrick goes, that's a no-brainer. Why do I even have to answer that?
Yeah, I'm just sitting there looking at him. I'm like, why are you trying to sales pitch me now on bringing salmon? And I'm like, you just wasted a good 5 minutes of your breath. And I'm just sitting there looking at him, like waiting for him to finish. And I'm like, okay. And that was that. So,
and it was funny, you know, we're sitting there talking on the phone, and it's like I figured out before you even made the pitch. I'm like, is he gonna offer me a position right now? And I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, you didn't even finish your sales pitch. You didn't even tell me what you were gonna do. I had already decided. I'm like,
Yeah,
I didn't want to steal your thunder though. Like you were like building and building.
I had my Martin Luther King speech, motivational speech, ready to go. You let me finish, which I was happy about.
Yeah, and you know that was my entire lunch break. So
You didn't get to eat.
Yeah, it happens. Yeah. You know, I'm getting into shape for the backcountry, so I could probably miss a meal at a time. But yeah, no. So we were talking about, okay, you know, how do we introduce it to the team, and you know, how do we make the announcement? And we're like, you know, we want to at least do something fun while we're doing this. And I just had oh my gosh, mosquitoes taste foul, and that was a really large one that just flew into my mouth.
No comment.
Too easy.
Too easy. Yeah, I'm not gonna even slam dunk that alley-oop.
I mean, let's at least try and keep it PG-13. I know. We're not saying G for this. I've already had to.
Yeah, we got to keep our sponsors happy.
But yeah. So I know y'all had this trip out. We're down, like I said, in southern Louisiana. We're doing a little bit of bow fishing, and said, well, why don't you come along? We can make the big introduction while we're out doing something none of us have done before. Little adventure. Feels like a shame that none of us had ever done any bow fishing. So I, of course, snapped the chance to hop out of LA and get on out here. And
yeah, how fortunate is it that this is all our first time basically doing this, and all of it's being captured on film. You know, that's a beautiful thing.
Well, there was fortunate moments, and there was
beautiful, but it was exciting.
It was exciting, but it was very beautiful.
When the camera was on me, it was definitely beautiful. But
well, especially when the sun hit your eyes.
Oh gosh, you know, it's
amazing.
You sure know how to talk to a boy.
Then Steve pointed out his rainbow that he found.
I did find a rainbow.
Yeah.
You definitely did find a faded rainbow. That was actually pretty funny.
So last night, you know, we headed out to where did we head out to, Pat?
Point Sulphur. Yeah, Sulphur.
Port Sulphur.
You know,
Port Sulphur.
on the spot.
Well, I don't know what kind of
that's
language
the
they
closest
speak down here in the South. I can't understand anybody. They barely even got teeth.
And you know what? Who took us out on the boat at Port Sulphur?
Don't you dare interrupt me, Locke Daddy. It is Captain Jason Ward.
Yeah, not Grant Ward. Jason Ward.
I said Dr. Grant Woods, man, from GrowingDeer.tv.
Because that's his idol, by the way.
Is that a character from something?
He's Dr. Grant Woods in the whitetail and industry and outdoor industry.
Yeah, okay.
Guys, very informative. Obviously, one of the most educated guys in the outdoors. So, if you're talking about, like, he's not my idol for say in the outdoors. I'm just going to touch base on him. If you're really trying to learn the science about the outdoors, he's the guy to go to. Like, he is going to teach you. Like, he taught me how to take down a tree without a chainsaw. You get these chemicals, and he'll tell you the chemicals on the episode. I'm not going to try to say which ones they were because I don't recall what they are. You put it on a machete. You chop into the tree on a downward angle where the chemicals from the machete go into the tree, and the tree falls down naturally over time. And he's using this to create cover and bedding areas for the deer. And it's better that it happens that way. One, you're not sitting there chainsawing and working really hard to do it. All you're doing is go chop, walk away, chop to the next tree, chop, and that's all you're doing. And I was like, wow, really? And then he showed later on the trees and the area that he created. So that's the type of information you're getting from that guy. So that's where Dr. Grant Woods came from, by the way.
Everybody goes to him. Everybody.
Yeah, they all email him. Even the top guys, Midwest Whitetails, all those guys, they all email him for questions about aging deer. Like, he taught me the correct way to age deer. It's not by the antlers, it's by the body. And all those details. Like, the guy's a biologist, and he's a deer doctor. He knows a lot of the science that goes into it, so very educated.
I mean, and as we all know, it's always all about the body, right, guys? No.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna get some hate mail for that. It was a joke.
Balance.
You're as shallow as the water we were fishing in yesterday, boy.
Oh man. Speaking of fishing, but yeah, check out the Bowhunter Brotherhood video on about our trip. It only took Pat like 12 takes to get
buddy.
that intro to the video.
Was it only 12 bucks?
Yeah.
Something like that.
I don't know. They did one take.
You know
and
what,
then
you guys,
by talking it too loud. So
You know what? You guys are worrying about the sunlight, this thing.
You should have seen how many it took when we were doing the Spy Point camera giveaway. How many that took?
Oh man, you know we didn't even do that giveaway.
No.
I mean, we never got around to picking the person out of the hat. I had it all set up, and we never.
Oh, so you guys aren't supposed to admit this stuff on.
No, I admit it, man. I'm real. We just did a giveaway, but that's me being real. It just reminded me. So we got to do that when we get back. We're giving that trail camera away. Wow, I just realized that.
So if y'all are hearing this and you entered that giveaway, start getting excited because maybe sometime by the end of the year,
next Monday,
you'll find out one way or the other. But we went out. We went out on the boat. None of us had bowfished before, and so we got behind the Tribe Triton bows.
How cool are those things?
Those are really cool. You know, I haven't shot a recurve or a trad bow since I was a kid. I mean, growing up, I grew up with like a little youth bow. It was just a little recurve. I'd go down to the local park and I'd scavenge behind the bales for arrows and whatever sorry state or length they were at, and and just start flinging them at the hay bales. But I probably haven't shot one since then, and I was a little worried. And admittedly, it took a while to get into the groove. But we went out. What time did we get out? We got out there. It was after
we left at sunset, so 8:15, between 8:15 and 8:30.
So that's another. Like I said, I know nothing about bow fishing. So you go out after dark. You got this big kind of flatbed
airboat.
It's
an airboat,
and that's the coolest thing.
There is an official name for it.
I don't think they have that out in California.
So,
well, you know what?
In case you guys didn't know, he is from LA.
Well, okay, not everyone. You know
Hollywood.
Not everyone listening to this podcast.
That
There's a lot
is
of my
his
LA
new
people
nickname.
listening to this podcast. Thank you very much. And so,
Hollywood.
not everyone knows what
So
an
we're talking
airboat
about
is.
the big, if you've ever seen or watched on TV, the big amphibious flat bottom boat with the big fan on the back.
If y'all like me and you binge watch a lot of Swamp People, you see a lot of those.
The big fan on the back that propels the boat. It's flat on the bottom, so it scoots across the swamp at the marsh.
Bro, watch
And
my
you
drink.
can get through some really shallow water. And with bow fishing, you need that shallow water because it's all based on sight. It's not like fishing with a rod and reel where you're luring the fish in. You're waiting until these suckers swim by and you're trying to hammer them with an arrow. And it's a lot more challenging than expected. You know, we went out there and
Well, I think it's fair that we preface and disclaim that we are here 2 days after a tropical storm. So our trip's been planned for quite a while, and Tropical Storm Cindy, as you may have seen on the Weather Channel, came through earlier in the week. So we have extremely high water, we have muddy water, and conditions were not in our favor, but such goes the outdoor lifestyle. You plan your hunts, and Mother Nature takes care of the rest.
it teaches you to roll with the punches. And we didn't do so bad for ourselves.
No, we did good. Nobody got skunked except Rob.
Calling him out.
It's
true. Now, can we talk
He's
about,
a sharp shooter.
Can we talk about the fact that being behind the camera most of the time, I did not get as many shots? Can I get a little?
I
get a
will give you.
little-
I will give you credit for spending a good portion behind the camera.
Exactly.
I saw you miss a lot too. though.
I did see him miss a lot.
Well, to
I
his
saw you
credit-
reeling a lot. You know,
To his credit, the boat's moving, the fish is moving, high murky water.
that we all dealt with.
Let's not take away from the fact. Listen,
I was just trying to help him out.
we will always keep it 100% real. I can't shoot for the life of me. Everybody else in this group is very quality shooters. Very quality shooters.
Well, that
you're being very generous to me. I appreciate
well,
that.
I mean, I think it goes to speak to the point that bow fishing it's a learned skill.
Yeah.
Because everyone in this group, as Rob referred to, are active in archery. We shoot, we hunt, we can use equipment, we can pick up new bows and figure them out and shoot well with them. Bow fishing is something that is completely different, 100% different, and even guys that are, very accomplished and also, shoot their bows a lot are going to struggle with a moving boat and shooting into dark water and everything about it.
Fish that see your bow right when you go to full draw, and they're like, "Oh, well, I'm out of here."
It's one of the interesting things about it is half of the time you're just shooting at a shadow. Like you're, especially with these bigger fish, you are you're not seeing the whole fish.
Yeah,
it's
and
like if the water's stirred up at all,
and if you do get that target where you see the whole fish, what we learned was it's typically right under the boat, very close to the lights, and which makes it an even harder shot because you have no angle. You're shooting kind of straight down.
Sorry, guys, I'm distracted now because my wire doesn't reach entirely back, and I want to recline. And
so, if y'all don't know, I'm super cheap and haven't bought XLR cable extensions for my headsets, and so we're all kind of tied to this recorder pretty closely right now, and it's up close and personal. With
we're gonna have a little kumbaya when this is over with. By our citronella candle.
Oh, it's going to be a beautiful thing.
For the condor-sized mosquitoes. This candle does nothing.
Well,
nothing.
Hey, this would be a good moment for Thermacell. If we had one, we would love to give them a shout out if we had one.
Well, so Thermacell's listening.
I would say definitely. I don't know. When I was shooting, there's a lot of times you get really excited when you see the fish. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, there they are, and you really lose your fundamentals on your execution of your shot. But you know what? I was like, the slower I took and I went back into my process and I just, really followed through on my shot and worried about my form, I started smoking them. I mean, it was getting really intense a couple of times. I pulled away from the guys, but Locke was smoking a couple. Sam, you did too. And Steve, he hit a couple too. So it was a good time, and I mean, when that big gar came in, though, I mean, I seen Locke. I was pulling up my arrow from a shot before, and I seen Locke just get extremely excited. He looked like Cupid out of the sky. He just flung his arrow right over his back. I'm like, oh my goodness, now this fish is gone. And if you guys seen our pictures on Instagram and Facebook, it was 45 pounds, right around 50, I give or take. But I'd rather lowball it than overdo it. And it was 5 feet tall. It was a big fish. And on top of that, it looked like a dinosaur. And then we happened to run into it, I would say, 40 seconds later. And it was huge. I'm like, oh, I got this bad boy. I took my time, and I just drilled him just like if it was an IBO shoot or a competition shoot. And I moneyed that shot. And all games began from there, and it was a rodeo.
Here's the thing about bow fishing that I thought was interesting, and I think if you have never done bow fishing and you're a bow hunter, you want to go out and take an animal, you're new at it, whatever, and you have trouble with something like target panic or buck fever, whatever you want to call it, this is a good way to work that out. Because you'll be going and you're gonna have to react quick and stuff like that, but when that fish pops out, it teaches you to remember those fundamentals in a high pressure, high intensity situation, because those things are darting around. You got to decide to make a quick shot, and if you're not getting into that form and remembering those fundamentals,
Yeah, what would you say? We probably have a good second and a half, 2 seconds,
maybe,
if that.
I mean, and you're honestly, you could sit there. I mean, we're not talking the heaviest poundage bows or anything.
Yeah.
So you could sit there at full draw for a while, but you're doing this for 6 hours straight. you don't want to be sitting at full draw every time waiting for a fish to pop out so you can just release. So you're talking something good. The boat's moving, you see something of a good size, and it kind of flashes by. You have that split second to draw, anchor, aim, and release, and it's definitely learned skill. And it was interesting watching all of us. We all definitely improved significantly. And by then, after Pat got that gar and we got that thing in, I think we all got a bit of a fever.
I just grabbed the camera and I sat down after that. There's no one up in that. I was like, all right, I'm done here. My job is done. I'm hitting the showers. I'm out of here, boys.
But I'll say this, is that although, we've been fishing for about 2.5 hours, seeing medium-sized, regular-sized fish, when we saw that gargantuan alligator gar, and then Patrick comes up and tags them, what was the coolest thing for me is that watching the entire team, really, everyone stepped in, everyone worked together, everything from the first shot to getting the second shot in to getting them in the boat. Yeah. I mean, it was a good team effort, and it actually spoke true to a lot of the qualities that you guys all possess. It's a pretty neat moment.
A big shout out to the guys at Bowfishing Unlimited. They did a great job. They took us to some good spots, and it was a tough situation. Like we said, muddy and deep water. It was just after the storm, right? And they really hooked us up.
You could tell they worked hard to make sure that we had as good of an experience as we could have, considering it wasn't optimal conditions, and we probably weren't going to have one of those trips where you go out and the fish are just all over you and you're taking limits and things like that. That probably wasn't going to happen, and they knew it, but they still worked really hard to make sure that we got to shoot and get the full experience. So
yeah, that's for sure. I mean, they're very accommodating. They have great facilities there. I think they said they have over five lodges. We happen to only see 2, but I will say I seen the 2, and they're state of the art facilities, great boats, very cool guys to be around. They make you feel really comfortable at home and just have a good time, and that's what we're there for. And on top of all that, like Locke said, they were working hard to make it a great experience for us, and they did, and it was a great time across the board, and it was just a great situation and a great experience that we all got to share. So thank you.
There's something that I noticed that I thought about while we were, because I've lived down here in South Louisiana since 2002, and so I'm right here by bow fishing, but I've still never done it. Come down here and fish a lot, but never bow fish. So one thing that kind of came to mind as we did is, as bow hunters, we've all experienced, if you haven't yet, you're going to experience missing an animal. And you work so hard to set up your stands, to prepare and practice, and you work hard to get to the point where you release the arrow, and inevitably, if you hunt long enough, you're going to miss, and probably you're going to miss early on in your career. And the difference in the big game hunting that most of us are used to with bow hunting and bow fishing is you get to shoot a lot. Yeah. I mean, it's cool in that regard, because, a lot of times you may only get 1 or 2 shots in an archery season. You put in months of work, and the one opportunity comes, and you do something wrong and you miss the animal, and it's over.
Yeah, and that's heartbreaking. You put all that hard work in just for 2 shots.
And for bow fishing is it's cool in that regard. If you ever consider doing it and you want to come down here and check it out, it's fun in that regard, because you get a lot of opportunity, a lot of chances to redeem your mistakes and do better. And so I thought that was cool. That was something that
yeah, no, that's on top of all that, we got there and we weren't expecting we didn't know what it was going to be overall, and it was just, let me get in this picture we're taking here real quick.
Apparently we're taking a selfie. Lean in, Locke. Where's
get in there, like there?
Oh wait, there.
Oh, Steve's the one that's.
I'm backwards.
There you go.
All right, we're taking.
Well, there's our selfie.
Little selfie. This is going on Instagram. You guys will see this long before you hear the podcast.
And bow hunting, bow fishing unlimited. It was just like, guys, let's get in the boat. And they were helping us out and everything. They're showing us the ropes and everything. It was just well put together, well organized, and just very, and on top of that, it's very affordable and it's a good experience. I would suggest it to anybody. So I just want to give them a shout out. Thank you for the great experience. Definitely coming back next year. So,
you know, we got our fish. I know it's something we all want to do again, and it's just it's like a group thing. Like so much stuff down here in the South. It's like a group event. Like you're all out there. You're all. You know, it's not this solo. I couldn't imagine. I don't think it'd be nearly as fun if it was
social.
If it was just like one. Yeah. If you were just the one dude on the boat and the person driving, like.
That's a good point. You get to actually conversate, talk about everything, relate with people, get to know people, see different cultures. I thought that was really cool that we're sitting on the boat, we're listening to music, we're dancing, you know, we're giving each other high fives. You know, it was awesome. It really was. When Locke gave me this idea, he's like, you know, might be a good idea to do some bow fishing for BHB content and have a good time and everything. I'm like, I watch bow fishing on TV and online and stuff. I'm like, it doesn't really look that exciting. And I'm like, you know, and this is going back way before Locke even suggested it, like 3 years ago. I'm like, you know, they're shooting fish with a bow in the water, cool. I got here, I was like a kid in a candy shop. I was so pumped when I picked up that bow. I was going crazy. I loved it. I was swinging arrows left and right.
The fashion, how we did it, like having a good group of guys. The boat having an amazing sound system on it. Oh, like we felt like we were like in a nightclub at the same time on the thing. All that together. And me and Steve were talking about it today when we were on the boat.
Oh, I thought there was going to be more.
I thought we were about to hear about y'all's discussion.
The tenor of your voice stayed even, and it didn't go down like at the end of the
Exactly. That was very
Was I supposed to fade out?
awkward silence.
You know, we talked about that before in our conversation earlier. It was a good talk. And you just, like, we were all looking separate ways, and we picked our head up, like, did we miss something? We all just picked it, and he's looking at us like...
You go down at the end of a sentence when you're done talking.
So let me finish the rest. Okay, even he said it. He said, I don't want to be the only one talking, because I can go on forever.
We know that.
You know? But no, he said it. He said, you know, hey, you know, I said, you know, let me take the chance of coming and, you know, meeting up with you guys and, you know, see what it's all about. See if it's something that I really want to pursue in, because, you know, a lot of people don't understand that, you know, the factor of doing this and what we're doing is a major commitment. You know, when you go down the route of what we're doing, you know, and prime example, Locke, you know, going through hours and hours of footage, you know, going out on 12-hour sits to just get that much more content. You want to make sure that if you're going to invest that much energy and that much time and dedication into something, you got to be happy while you're doing it. So, you know, he said that coming here and meeting all of us and, you know, say exactly what you said.
No, man, you're right. You're right. It was, you kind of have one or two things was going to happen. This is my first trip and meeting, you know, being able to hunt with you all. And
yeah, I want to hear this. So your perspective on things and that such. That's going to be a really cool insight.
Yeah. So one or two things was going to happen. I was either going to come down here and go, you know, these guys are just kind of doing it for show, or it's kind of just for the internet, or maybe their hearts aren't in it, or maybe I just don't click with them. And what really happened, the other thing that could have happened was I was going to fall in love with it, buy in, you know, get really connected with these guys and feel a good synergy going on, and
totally drink the Kool-Aid.
And drink the Kool-Aid.
Don't drink relax yourself, bro. You're not drinking.
So that Locke stirred first.
Yeah, I stirred the Kool-Aid.
He was definitely the spoon and him the Kool-Aid.
But honestly, it was, for me, I hunt because I have a passion about it. I've always had a passion about it. And coming down here and meeting you all and seeing how much you guys have the exact same passion, I was totally bought in and said, okay, you know, I definitely want to be a part of this, not just for one trip. I want to be a part of this thing for continuously, forever.
Respect, man. This is the first time I met Steven personally, and coming from being the person that started all this, that's just awesome to hear. You know, that's exactly what I want to hear and what I wanted to do with this company. A lot of people think it's just like a business and this and that. You know, I wanted to start something I love and do something I love every day with people that I love, and you know, it's really coming together, and I'm just blessed to have these people sitting next to me and sharing it with me. So like that for me is all what I wanted, And anything I ever did, I just wanted to share that memory with somebody. What's a memory if you can't share it with anybody? You know, so this is what we're doing, and that is just awesome to hear. That's awesome. That meant a lot to me.
And the most astonishing part of all of it is we're all so completely different. You know, we come from all different areas of the country. You know, compared to a lot of other companies are just, you know, out of their local archery shop, or an archery shop tries to start something up and, you know, it usually fails because it's not organic. You know, what we're doing is we're not trying to be anything else other than what we are. And, you know, you come from one way of life. You know, we come from another. Locke comes from another. You know, Steve comes from another. You know, in this country, what's so beautiful about this country is there's so many different cultures within the country.
And we all hunt. That's the cool thing.
Yeah.
When people think that hunting is just for one person. No, our foundation of our family our ancestors got us here by hunting. So no matter what, hunting, people in New York think that hunting is just rednecks and hillbillies. No, everybody in this world hunts. We have a lot of followers from New Zealand, a lot of followers from Europe. You know, they don't realize that hunting does not matter what race or culture or color you are or anything. We're all hunters and we all love the same thing. I don't care what your culture is or what your religion is. It's just a way of life, and hunting itself is a culture.
Not that we also don't love the redneck hillbillies, because
look at you. Not kidding.
I just look like one.
Yeah, no, that's the truth. I have a lot of friends that are no different than any other hillbilly or
that's
redneck.
the biggest thing that I like when you sit back and you evaluate okay, you know, you, for example, you're in the middle of LA. For a man to really not be a follower, because, you know, they say one out of every 20 people is an actual leader. You know, you're walking through Hollywood, not dressing, not acting, not doing any of the same mannerisms, anything like anybody else from LA. And you're being you. You know, like, think about that for a second. Like, a lot of people really don't analyze stuff like that. You know, that you're walking around repping hunting and repping bow hunting in LA, which can be a very superficial area.
You know what? It's really funny because I was taking a lift ride somewhere just the other day. It was just before coming out, and I was sitting there riding, you know, and I had my Bowhunter Brotherhood hat on. I had my camo backpack. I was headed somewhere, and I can't remember exactly how it came up, but it ends up with my Lyft driver asking me, like, "Oh, are you a hunter?" And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." Not a very good one, but yeah. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, great, it's going to be one of those conversations, and I'm going to have to sit and I just didn't want to deal with the
explaining
it, and I was tired, and, you know, I'm about to get out of the car, and so I don't want to have to half explain it if I'm going to do it, but it turned out to be a fantastic conversation. I'm sitting down with this guy, and he's like, you know, I just got into shooting guns last year, and I've never gone hunting before, but he's like, you know, I want to do it. Like, I want to know where my food comes from, and I feel like, you know, I should be able to provide what I eat. And I'm sitting there, I'm like slack-jawed, because I was expecting the complete other reaction, like, oh, how could you do that, you horrible person, and I'm glad that, you know, I gave him the info for the podcast and gave him my email address and told him to shoot me a message, and, you know, we'd go grab coffee and we could talk hunting. And if I wasn't being me, if I wasn't walking around with, you know, the BHB hat and all my hunting lifestyle kind of stuff, that conversation would have never come up. You know, it would have been a typical lift ride where you sit and, wow, it's getting hotter, isn't it? Yes.
And the crazy part is, you know, like, people don't realize the small things in life, but you were a part of changing someone's life. You know?
Here's hoping. He hasn't emailed me yet, but we'll see.
Well, you know, even if it's one.
Well, you had the opportunity to present a positive interaction with someone who's obviously searching out information and wanting to know more about hunting in the outdoors. So, you know, there's a lot about that nowadays a lot of people talking about the promotion of the sport and the growth of the sport, and so an opportunity to promote it in a good light and have a good conversation that's productive and friendly and all of those things. I mean, that's good in and of itself.
And it's something we can lose so quickly and easily. I mean, it only takes one generation to lose so many of our. I mean, shoot, it doesn't even take a generation these days. I mean,
I feel like it's really grabbing traction. The outdoors, big time. I feel like competition archery is really taking a good route too, and it's becoming a lifestyle brand in itself. And
Pat's driving me nuts right now because he refuses to put the dang microphone on his head.
Because I want to sit back in a chair. I don't want to be
Curl it
sitting
more so it's near your chin.
You can scoot the chair closer. He's driving me absolutely nuts.
There you go.
Is that nice?
Now
looks
now he
perfect.
looks like freaking.
Yeah, it looks like something. All right.
Now I can definitely speak into this microphone.
Oh dear Lord!
I look like Britney Spears in like 1998.
No, you don't look anything like Britney Spears.
I was gonna say Locke and Rob look more like Britney Spears when she
shaved her head.
Shaved her head. But yeah. Anyway, so. We're getting all philosophical here.
Yeah.
Enough of that nonsense. Let's tell the people about our day fishing
Nonsense
today.
is just always involved. And speaking of nonsense, is us chasing a drone in a boat. That is us. Turn the boat around, Captain. We gotta chase it. My drone is in the air.
So we're getting footage today. We're out fishing, and we want to grab some footage, and
we're
the
not
boys,
catching many fish.
Yeah, it was once again
Stingrays.
just after a storm. The water was super churned up and muddy. We just weren't getting a lot of clear water for these redfish. So we're like, I might as well make the best of it. Get some cool shots of the boat. We did get some. What do we got? We got some flatheads. We got.
We caught
sailcat.
a goo, a flathead catfish, a croaker, a couple of stingrays, and a couple of little saltwater catfish that are as bad as mosquitoes.
And I caught myself to the face.
And Rob hit
yeah,
himself
make
in
sure
the
you
face.
keep an eye out for Rob's.
Oh my goodness,
Rob's
that was
video.
funny. Oh, that's going to be great.
Yeah, just to make a long story short, everybody.
He didn't want a cup of coffee.
The
He wanted to wake
stingray,
up
when I
quicker.
got it up out of the water, I went to yank on it a little bit. The line snapped and it hit me right in the
First
face.
of all, don't be yanking when you don't know the details on the rod, how much the tension is, how much the weight is of the string.
Yeah.
I learned the hard way.
Come on. He
So anyway,
slapped himself in the face with a pole.
we're trying to get drone footage, and we got Pat's drone. We're trying to do the best for you here at Bowhunter Brotherhood. Bring you the cool overhead shots, the cool drone shots. We're getting all
lawnmower driving by shot. So just as an FYI, when you hear that,
our neighbor Hound Dog's coming back to visit on his lawnmower that he rides around on.
a Hound Dog is pretty legit. He's the one y'all heard
That's
on
our boy, Hound Dog.
introducing the episode.
Howdy, what are you doing?
He has no idea we're up here.
Yeah, he has no clue.
He probably going to jump in
But
on us.
He just cruises around on his tractor.
Hound Dog's about as real as it comes. He's cruising around on his.
he's looking
his
for us. So
lawnmower.
we're upstairs, and he's downstairs looking for us.
Is he? Is he actually? He's rolling in.
Yeah, he's rolling in on his tractor.
He's coming up.
Is Hound Dog going to come join us for the podcast?
Should I go get Hound Dog? Like, he's the man.
He introduced it. All right, folks, we're gonna keep talking about some of this drone footage while Rob runs down and sees if Hound Dog.
Yeah, so Locke is filming. Take it over, Locke.
So I'm flying the drone. We're doing some footage where basically we're done fishing for the afternoon, and we're gonna position the drone in a couple of different places and do some drive-bys on the boat and follow the boat with the drone. Like I said, we're trying to get you some really cool footage at BHB. So that's what we're doing. So we get into an area where apparently the drone is powered by the phone and its reception, cellular reception. They're tied together in some way. And Pat's phone that's hooked to the controller loses service.
Yeah, we're in the middle of the water somewhere.
We're in the middle of a bay.
Yeah.
And if you ever come down here, we were actually in the middle of Lake Salvador, is where we were, and the drone starts flying off because it doesn't know where we're at, and it's trying to find us, and it won't let me control it with the remote control.
It was like a lost dog.
Yeah, it
was just
like,
started wandering.
It was just, and so we're following it in the boat, thinking, and the battery's running down. It's like, I mean, it's some tense in the ER type stuff. And so the drone is way up there. I mean, it's 100 meters or so up there.
And so this is Pat's drone. This is Pat's
and I
drone.
am flying it.
And I'm laughing.
And Pat's laughing.
And I'm flying it.
Locke is like red-faced and sweating.
I've
He's so
never seen
stressed
anyone
over
so
this
stressed
drone.
that. You
Well,
thought you lost someone's
I'm
baby.
flying someone else's drone, and it is not responding to anything I do on the remote control other than to tell me that it's running out of battery
10%,
and about to crash.
9%, 8%.
And so we're following it in the boat, and it won't come down, and it's like, like I said, it's, I don't know, 100+ feet above our head. And so we're following it, and this goes on forever. And I'm like, man, the drone's going down in the middle of the marsh out here somewhere. But fortunately enough, we followed it long enough that we came back into cell reception with his phone. And we took control of the drone, and we landed it safely. So
I didn't realize you had gotten control of the drone again. And I see it coming down. I think, oh, crap. This thing's coming down. Hopefully, we can get the boat underneath it. But, we got the big long-handled net. And so like an idiot, I come running out like, hey, guys, I got the drone. And,
he's going to catch the drone in a fishing net.
Hey, it's better than it going in the water.
Hey, just like the big fish, all hands on deck. We all worked together, and we landed the drone safely on the front deck of the boat. But
there was a lot of stress and a lot of laughing at Locke's stress.
Hey, look, but anticlimactic in that we didn't get to see the drone go swimming. It actually all ended well, which is good. But before that happened, I mean, we did get some really cool shots.
Yeah.
So we got some really cool video with it. You'll see in the upcoming episode when we put all this together. So it all worked out well, and it was without a doubt our most exciting adventure of the day.
I was gonna say that's definitely the most exciting part of the day. We went out, and it was interesting just watching the frustration in Mike's face.
Chris.
Yeah,
big shout out to our buddy Chris Hebert. Chris and I have been friends for a very long time, and it's Chris's Fishing Charters, and it's Chris with a K, K-R-I-S. And so, Chris and I have been friends for a long time. He's a 100% guide. He guides all the time. That's what he does for a living. He's got this houseboat set up here in Lafitte, Louisiana, and he can accommodate you and put you up, and you fish right here off the dock. I mean, you jump in the boat and he takes you out. So we did the bow fishing yesterday evening, as we talked about, and we didn't get back till 4 in the morning. So we slept in and decided to make an afternoon fishing trip today because, so we could get caught up with our rest and whatnot. But that didn't turn out to be the best decision because apparently the fish didn't bite this evening. They, I guess maybe they bit this morning. We don't know. We were asleep. But so we did that. And look, Chris, he worked hard. He was just frustrated. Honestly, I don't think we were really frustrated. We were having a good time.
Yeah.
Yep.
But he tried hard. We're going to go back in the morning and see if we can't get on him because I've fished with Chris a lot.
You can appreciate a guy that wants you to catch something that much. I mean, he probably took us.
He took it worse than us. He was more upset than we were. He was,
we ran all over the place. We ran that boat all over the place. Just trying to find fish, just trying to pick up a fish here and there, and it's all good. I've fished with Chris for a long time, and I've made a lot of trips with him, and I can honestly say that this is the only one where we didn't catch not just some fish, but a lot of fish. So if you're looking to do a South Louisiana redfish, black drum, speckled trout, look up Chris Hebert, Chris's Fishing Charters. He is top notch, as good as it gets.
And I think it's a good thing to mention how nice the quarters are that you are staying in.
Oh man, this place is
when we say houseboat, this isn't.
No, this is a luxury.
Yeah.
It's a luxury camp that's just floating on water.
Everything.
The kitchen itself is something I would put in my own home.
Right.
This place is at least 4 or 5 times the size of my dang apartment. And
you mean your closet? That you only come out on the weekends?
Stop it. Stop it. I think, honestly, probably the room we're staying in is about the size of my apartment. Maybe the room in the living room. But
really?
It's an awesome place. Like,
Steven! Dare you?
I will take credit when I take credit. I did not take
What
credit.
is
for
that
this
cloud of black air coming?
I'm trying to get rid of the mosquitoes, man.
I'm not sure that actually made it on the podcast. Just be glad y'all ain't. We're a bunch of dudes hanging out on a houseboat.
You
after
just be
2
happy.
days of-
And
Be
we just
happy
ate
that
a
Mike
bunch of stuff off the grill.
Yeah.
We got a poot, man. Deal with it.
Yeah. Be happy that Locke's mic is near one of his holes, not the other.
Oh.
I'm gonna apologize for this podcast, folks. I told him I had absolutely zero plan. I just want to do a podcast with him, and this is definitely a podcast.
Or
Because I am uploading it
Casted
to
pod.
uploading it to where the podcast is distributed, and I think that's about where the
Is
similarities
that about
end.
all that is required to call an official podcast?
But back on topic, this place is beautiful. I got here, I'm like, you come to Southern Louisiana, like I'm from New York, you see very nice areas here and there and stuff like that. I mean, there's bad and good anywhere you go. But you come down here and we're driving through 5 feet of water in the truck and you don't even see the road. We're like, where do we turn to get to this place? There's all water covering in the roads. You don't even know where to turn. The only way you know how to turn is you see the street sign. And
that I was kind of surprised was still standing and washed away.
yeah, it was definitely an eye opener. There's so much to see in this country. It's crazy.
Well, it's a trip. You're rolling down the road. You're kind of going through a couple of feet of water, and you're just looking over, and you're like, okay, there's the house there, and everything below it's completely flooded. Everything right here on the canal.
Mm-hmm.
I got in trouble for calling it a river.
They're gonna eat you up, boy. If you call it a river down here, they're gonna eat you up. I'm just giving you a warning.
That is Pat's a
river. I mean, the definition of a river is not a canal. I don't know any other way to put it.
I'm okay with that. I cannot see how it was built. I do not know where the heck I am.
It's like calling a bathtub a pond. It's just not.
Oh,
I like to think of it as a pond.
But anyway, you're driving kind of along the canal, and you're looking at someone's house, and you all of a sudden realize you're like, I can't tell where the canal begins, and
yeah,
just the land
Or seeing
ends.
garages that are 20 feet up in air because when the water gets up that high, that's where they park their equipment.
and in all fairness, it's not like that every day. We're here 2 days after a tropical storm, so the storm surge. We're very close to the Gulf of Mexico, so the storm surge pushed a lot of water up.
Yeah, I think we pretty much fed Rob to the wolves at this point.
Yeah, he's with our man.
Him and Hound Dog are down there solving all the world's problems.
Yep, good old Hound Dog.
They are next in office.
You think he'll give Rob a ride on the tractor?
Oh my
If he
god!
does, you better run and get a camera
yeah.
fast.
No, the camera's right over there to the left, so we got a camera nearby.
Whether or not that happens, according to this podcast, that happened.
Yeah.
Hey guys, look.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that would be
man.
a sight to see. And I gotta say, I met one of the sweetest dogs ever down here.
This guy's obsessed with this dude.
I love this guy's dog. I mean, listen, that dog would be my dog if it did not have a collar or a name tag or went back to a house or a destination.
If we're being completely honest, that dog would be his dog if he wasn't afraid of getting killed by the owner.
Yeah, that's true too. That dog is awesome. Daisy. Shout out to Daisy, my homegirl.
Shout out to Daisy, yo. Always be my girl, Daisy.
Love you. Wherever you are
man.
across the canal.
No, we're having a fantastic time down here. I love hanging out with these guys. One of the funny things when y'all showed up, I flew in. I flew in about an hour beforehand, and I didn't know exactly where we were going, so I ran into Starbucks and to get some work done, and these guys showed up, and it was weird. I was kind of expecting it to be more of like this grand thing, but it was funny. It was just like seeing some guys I've known forever, and it was like, hey, good to see you again. It was like first time meeting them. So you know your family when they show up, and
Yeah, and try to
like-
steal your book bag.
yeah. I turn around and I see my backpack with all my stuff start floating away, And I was like, and I remember thinking to myself, like, I don't want to pick a fight right now. Like some
Starbucks.
Crazy. You know, I mean, it's Starbucks. You always have the one slightly off kilter, really smelly guy.
One that opened and closed the door for us?
Yeah. Well, that's either yelling at people or just always taking the most comfortable chair in the Starbucks.
That would be you.
Oh, well. Yeah, that was me when I was telling him when I was out in Utah for that Black Ovis event. You know, we did the hike with the Gritty Bowman and the Crispy guys and everyone. And I came down off the mountain. I was just camping out in Wasatch and had them drop me off at Starbucks after the hike just so I could get some coffee and kind of chill for a little bit and some air conditioning. And I'm sitting around and like everybody's kind of giving me the side eye, and I was kind of distracted, so I wasn't really trying to figure out why. But then all of a sudden I reach up and I feel my face and it's just grit, covered in grit, and I kind of catch a whiff of myself and I'm like, I'm
a little gamey.
Gamey would be a very kind way to describe it. I'm like, I'm the crazy guy that I usually try and avoid in Starbucks. You know, I had my big pack, so I looked like I was living out of it, and I was sitting there looking at it. I mean, I had a laptop with me, so apparently I couldn't have been that hard up, but I was probably sitting there mumbling to myself because I was getting frustrated with trying to find a good camp spot for that night. But anyway, we're getting off topic. Not that we really...
Did we have a topic?
Well, I'll tell you the topic that came to my mind when you were mentioning how we walked up on you for the first time. Steve finds me in the airport. I'm waiting for Rob to get out of the bathroom. Just got off the flight. You know, I got investigated on my equipment and stuff like that. They thought my drone was something else. I don't know. But
I know Pat kind of looks like a terrorist.
Yeah, a little undercover terrorist.
Undercover terrorist.
If that makes sense.
But go ahead.
See, here's the thing. I'm an undercover terrorist. I could be, let's bring this back a second. I could be a terrorist, but trying to portray as a civilian, but being an undercover terrorist. Get what I'm saying?
No,
I'm trying to be a civilian.
I have no idea what you're saying.
So anyway, Steven found you in the airport.
Yeah, I failed on that one. And in the corner of my eye, in my peripheral, I'm like, that looks like a BHB shirt. I'm like, what? Fans coming up to me or something? I'm like, does this person know me?
Fans coming
up to me. Am I fixing to check something off my list?
Yeah. And,
dang it. And groupies are finding me.
Yeah. Do I have my Sharpie I meant to carry?
Yeah. And he's coming. He's in close. He's like 8 yards away at this point, and I'm like, oh, I got to shape up and be ready to talk to who knows who. I'm like, I don't know who this person is. And Steve comes up, and it was the most awkward handshake I've ever seen or ever done in my life.
We botched.
Dude,
it was awful.
Bad. It was a bad handshake. I was like, and I gave him a hug. I was like, bro, that was the worst handshake I ever done in my life.
But it was the recovery and the honestly, it was just the honesty of how bad it sucked.
Yeah.
That I knew we were gonna get along just fine.
Yeah. I was like, that was a bad handshake. He goes, yeah, that was. But that's the story.
It's a pretty good story, Pat.
Handshake story. Thank you, Locke.
Hey, it's better than Rob's where you just kind of stop.
Rob was telling me this story the other day.
What was it? Bam! Got him! That was great. Well executed.
Oh, man.
You guys, you should have seen that.
We are pushing time here. All right, let's go around. Pat, any final thoughts? Any sage advice for the new hunter, the city hunter, for the guy that's intimidated on getting into hunting?
Don't be intimidated. Don't be intimidated. Anything you do in this world or anything you want to do in this world, go out and do it. Find a way and enjoy it. And do things that you want to do and enjoy what you want to enjoy in life. And if archery and bow hunting is one of them, more power to you. Do not hold back at all. That's it.
All right, Locke, what about you? Any wise words for the new to the outdoors?
Well, not really. Well, Rob had told me this thing the other day.
I'm having a feeling.
Let's continue that.
Oh, no, I mean, it's mostly what Pat said. I think that one thing that I always try to say to people or encourage people with, and I worked in a bow shop and an outfitter's, privately owned outfitter outdoor gear store with an archery shop, and the one thing that always kind of drove me crazy, and I try to always impress upon people that are getting into archery specifically, is you can't half-ass it. I mean, you can't, because it's not fair, and from a hunting perspective, it's not fair to the game you're hunting. So if you're going to do it, get into it and do it right. Don't just throw some equipment together and get out there and start slinging arrows that are, can do a lot of damage without actually killing. And to me, that's one of the things that I think and I wish people would impress upon up and coming guys into archery is don't make it just a means to go kill something else. Actually get into it and become something that that you have a passion for, so that you're driven to do it the right way and to do it the best of your ability. Don't just make it an extra hunt every year, because if that's the case, you're not being fair to the game you're hunting, and you're going to end up going out there and wounding animals and that kind of thing. And as far as just archery goes, it's if you're a guy who's golf's not your thing, recreational sports isn't your thing, and you want something that'll get you active, get you out there, you can meet new people and get involved in new things. Archery's just like your softball league or golf or a local gym, that you would join.
Significantly more badass.
Yeah,
I think that's a good point that Locke said, though. I just want to touch up on that. Don't use it just for more vacation time to hunt or more excuse to, because they have a longer season for bow hunting. That's a big thing. And I think that should be emphasized.
I seen it a lot in my time working with the consumer outdoorsman who's, obviously a lot of those people are hunters just like us, and they're coming in to fill their needs and to get their gear and all that kind of stuff. But there's a lot of guys that come in there that are looking to get into it for a lot of different reasons. And I, as an outdoorsman, someone who's been hunting since I was old enough for my dad to wrap me up in some clothes and take me out in the woods, it's archery is not something that you can just kind of dip your toe into. When it comes to actually hunting and pursuing game, it's something you've got to know your equipment. You have to practice. You have to make sure that it's performing correctly before you go and sling an arrow with a razor sharp broadhead on the end of it at a living creature. Because as outdoorsmen, we're not just killers. We're conservationists. We care about the game that we're hunting. We want to see them thrive, and we want to see population growth, and we don't want to encourage anything that's negative to the animals that we're hunting, because we're passionate about them. We want to see them thrive in our country and to be plentiful game. So that's as far as the hunting goes. And then, like I said, archery, if something you ever thought about, it is a great hobby to get you active and get you involved with different things, something to do. It challenge yourself. I compare it a lot to golf in that regard. When you go shoot, there are competitions where you're competing against other people, but on a day-to-day basis as an archer and someone who's into archery, you're competing against yourself. You're trying to shoot better today than you did yesterday. So it's a cool thing for that, and it's a good way to be active.
And if you're sitting here kind of looking at this, listening in and saying, okay, well, that's great and all, and you guys have had long careers, or you're all connected, and where do I start? Listen, it starts with asking questions. It starts with going to your local archery shop, going to your local Cabela's or Bass Pro, just asking questions. We'd be more than happy to take any questions you may have. Go to our website, go to any of our social media sites, throw a question at us through messaging, and we'd be more than happy to point you in the right direction, answer any questions to make that introduction for archery and anything else a lot more just very seamless and fun. Yeah. One of the things is that somebody at some point in our lives stepped up and introduced us to this, which is they shared their passion with archery, and that's what was so contagious that got us into it. Starting with questions, starting with those things. It's very easy for us to say, hey, jump into this if you're interested, if it sounds cool, just get into it. Ask questions. Start local, start easy. There's no wrong question.
That's a pretty good.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. I think we hit the.
I think we figured out who the smartest one in the group is.
Yeah.
I think to the guy, to the person, the average person who's new to getting into archery, and you walk into a pro shop and you feel intimidated, one thing to keep in mind, and this is coming from someone who sold equipment and worked in a pro shop. Shame on the guys that, I mean, there's bad apples in every crate, but shame on the guys who do make you feel inferior or intimidated. But in general, when you walk in a pro shop, you walk in an archery shop, and there's a bunch of guys standing around, and they obviously know what they're doing, they've been shooting for a long time, whatever. Don't be intimidated, because the guys in that shop, they make their living by selling you things. They want you to get involved and buy product. They're there to help you. You got to break the ice, and just, you know, understand that the doors of the business are unlocked and open because they want you to come in and get involved. So, you know, take it from that aspect and understand they're there to help you. Yeah. And look, if you run across someone who doesn't make you feel comfortable and doesn't want to answer your questions, go find another pro shop.
Yep. I think that's a good point. I mean, you know, this is kind of like that part where Rob would love to tell a story, and I think it started a little bit like this.
That would have been better if you didn't laugh before he finished the punchline.
Sorry, bro.
Not you, him. He started laughing at your punchline before you ever got to it.
And that's where we could have cut it.
Oh, hell.
Yeah, like there was this one guy that walked in the archery shop one time.
Exactly like you hear the crickets.
I'm sitting there. I'm like, it's all I can do not to laugh right now. But you know, I really think it comes down to just a lot of what I learned from this whole weekend, and it applies is try something new, even if you've been doing it. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing this. Doesn't matter.
There goes Hound Dog, boys.
Hey, Hound Dog's on his way out. If you can hear that tractor going, you know. Everything you do, whether it's hunting, fishing, anything in the outdoors, it will make you a better outdoorsman or woman. You will, you know, bow fishing, coming out and doing this bow fishing. Not only, I mean,
full throttle.
I may have done it before. I may have decided to come out and do this, but honestly, I wouldn't have expected it to be.
Give this guy a speeding ticket.
He is just hauling. I honestly wouldn't have expected it to be as fun as it was, or it to even be something that I would come back and just say, hey, you know, I want to do this every year. I want to do this a lot. Like, I would, after doing this, I would pick up a bow fishing rig. I would go do this, but, you know, it improves your skills as a hunter. I feel like everything you do that's connected to the outdoors will improve your skills, whether you realize that or not. If nothing else, it teaches you how to deal with failure. You know, that's one of the things. Like, you watch when we first started doing it. You know, you'd take a shot on a fish, and you'd be like, "Oh crap, I missed," and you'd take a while to reel it in, and you'd sit and talk for a minute, and by the end, we're just hauling through those. We just launch them.
Shoot. You
shoot, and you get that thing in so fast, you're over that last shot like nothing. And, I mean, it may seem like a silly comparison, but I feel like it relates to that. It teaches you concepts of, like, you know what, you miss a shot, you get over it and move on. There's going to be another animal. There's going to be... You know, there's always going to be another chance, another year, another season, whatever it is. And, you know, as long as you're out there, you're having a good time.
Right. I mean, what I really learned was it's just all about the...
What you guys can't see is Rob has joined us again. Rob, there's
been an inside joke going on.
I saw he was trying to do it, mate.
He's trying to do it, mate.
All right, Rob. Any final closing words, sage advice, words of wisdom for new hunters? Anyone that might be intimidated getting into hunting or trying something new with the
guys,
outdoors?
go fill your drinks. This might take a minute.
Yeah. Let me crack open another one. Sam, would you do me the honors with your ring?
Well, comfortability is...
Get in the mic.
Wait, comfortability.
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 Or comfortable.
Or comfortability.
Comfortability. Being comfortable
There you go.
is the worst thing to ever be. If you're doing things that you normally do right now and not taking risks and trying new things is the worst thing that you can ever do. try everything at least once, and you never know. You might end up loving it, and you fall in love with it.
Okay,
I'm so sorry.
These two are giggling like schoolgirls over
that
here.
That just sounded really bad if you really think about it. Comfortable is not a good thing.
It's not.
If you find yourself comfortable, get uncomfortable now.
Yeah.
And if you don't like it,
are you
try
sitting
everything once.
Are you sitting on the couch listening to this podcast?
Are you comfortable?
Get up!
Get up and do something. Yes.
But you know what? I do get what you're saying.
Yes.
If it wasn't for the two giggly schoolgirls over here, I do understand what you're saying. You know what? Don't let walk out of your comfort zone. Don't let yourself fall into a rut of being unwilling to say, this is what I do, this is who I am. Get out, try something new. You'll find a new hobby you love, you will improve. Every new thing you try improves you as a person in some way.
Exactly.
It teaches you things. It teaches you concepts that you'll never
saying
know
now.
when
I
you'll
get what you're
use.
saying. Okay.
But
I got what he
Anyway,
was saying. It was
You
just
have
how he
to-
said it.
You have to be thinking
Which is
like
common,
steps
but-
ahead to
No,
understand
we're
certain
just
things.
with you.
yeah.
But
I got
like
what
I said, when you listen to a lot of people, if you just keep your mouth shut and you listen, a lot of people, all they do is just complain. They're complaining all the time because they say that they're happy, but all they're doing is complaining. But if you go out there and try new things, like something like hunting, next thing you know, you find something that you purely love. You then become a happy person. And you take risks with doing that, like Steve did, and like other members that have joined our company recently. You take a risk, and you come out and do things like this. You find people that are on your level, people that you connect with, and you become part of something great. And that's what's most important. You never want to end up being 67 years old, sitting there regretting. Regretting is the worst fear. So if going out there and trying it.
Nothing to say that you can't start at 67 either.
Well, yeah,
Maybe.
but you think about it.
Don't live with regret.
Right, exactly.
Do something about it.
And if you go out there and you try to hunt, just even try it. You never know. And next thing you know, the simple things in life become the most extraordinary things in your life then with hunting.
And you might know.
Well, folks, I'm going to apologize for this podcast.
And I'm going to have to tell you one more thing.
Oh, dear Lord. Thanks for sitting and listening to our ramblings. We're having a good time out here. Y'all need to join us next time. There's going to be a lot more of this nonsense, I'm sure. But, yeah. In the meantime,
go check out.
Hey, you know what? Like, earlier today. No, seriously.
I got you thinking.
Earlier today.
I almost ended the podcast.
Rob and I were talking about when we were going to do the podcast and all that, and we were having this conversation.
All right, boys.
Got you.
Thank you, folks. Good night. And Godspeed. Stay country, y'all.
All right, y'all, that'll do it for episode 25 of Living Country in the City. Definitely a bit of a departure from the standard fare y'all are used to with this podcast, but we had a lot of fun that night down in Louisiana, and honestly, the whole weekend, as a matter of fact. Make sure y'all are giving Bowhunter Brotherhood a follow. You can find all of those links, as well as links to everything we talked about on our show notes page at livingcountryinthecity.com/25. Now, I'm recently back from Total Archery Challenge in Snowbird. Spent an incredible weekend out there in Utah, and honestly, I'm not sure I've had a better time in my life. I really can't even begin to say how much I learned, or honestly, how many arrows I completely lost or shattered. It was an amazing event, and I'd highly recommend visiting a Total Archery Challenge if you haven't already. You can check out the short recap video I put together on my YouTube or Vimeo pages, or just head on over to livingcountryinthecity.com/snowbird17. Now, I'm excited to announce that I've added new items and new ways to get bonus entries to my 2,000 follower giveaway. Make sure you're following me on Instagram, and you can see all the details on my post there, or by visiting the official giveaway page at livingcountryinthecity.com/2K. We're talking a ton of great prizes, and it won't be much longer. I'm almost to that 2,000 mark, so it'll be giveaway time soon. Now, finally, I want to let you all know who haven't been following me on Instagram that I'm participating in the BHA Hike to Hunt Challenge. Really, this is a competition for all of us to raise funds for backcountry hunters and anglers. And now I know a lot of y'all are all members, but I'm just doing my part to see if I can encourage y'all to give just a little bit more for an important cause. Now, if y'all head on over to hiketohuntchallenge.com and make a donation in my name, Samuel Ayers, Living Country in the City, and email me your receipt, I pledge to hike 1 mile for every $5 donated. To make it even better, whoever donates the largest single amount, I'm going to match that amount with up to 100 pounds in my pack and live stream myself attempting to hike up the trail to Griffith Observatory. So the more y'all donate, the more you get to make me suffer as I drag my butt up that hill. Now, to sweeten the pot even more, if you're entered into my 2,000 follower giveaway, I'll give you a bonus entry for the first $10 donated and an additional bonus entry for every $5 donated on top of that. Whoever makes the biggest single donation will get an additional 10 bonus entries on top of all of that. So do your part to support one of the best conservation organizations around, get in your extra entries into my 2,000 follower giveaway, and make me suffer. But in the meantime, keep it country, y'all.
Thank y'all for listening to Living Country in the City. Get show notes and check out the blog, product reviews, events, and more at livingcountryinthecity.com.
All that together. And me and Steve were talking about it today when we were on the boat.
Oh, I thought there was going to be more to that.